No, JP's, yeah, he's already actually thrown a pin, and he's someone that we're targeting for early on in action in the Cactus League. So he's on an accelerated plan.
Is that the same for Blackburn?
No, not for Paul.
Okay.
Remember, Paul was going through his bullpen progression, so Paul's not on the same page.
Who was the first one you talked about, Cox?
JP Sears.
Oh, JP.
Yeah, JP. Yeah.
Mark, your first chance to see Fuji yesterday. Thoughts?
Yeah, very impressive in terms of his stuff. It was fun to watch him. There was a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of nerves, and if he didn't have nerves, I'd probably be more scared. Like I said yesterday about that. But I think it was overall a great day for Fuji. I know he enjoyed it and was excited about it, and he felt good about it.
You could tell he's a battler because when a pitch didn't go the way he wanted, he'd be, upset about that. You like that in a pitcher?
Yeah, absolutely. You always look for some of the intangibles, in a pitcher, and the competitiveness, even in a bullpen session when there's lack of execution to a pitch. As you mentioned, showed in the emotion, which is a good thing.
So which pitch were you impressed by?
All of them, all of them. I like the sweeping breaking ball. I like the split, life on the fastball. It's just a matter of him being able to command his pitches, as is in pitching, right? It's really about throwing strikes, pounding the zone, and he has the arsenal to disrupt the timing of hitters and make pitches, deceptive, right? So.
Ramon's been down here for a while now, it seems, and feels pretty healthy. He talked about just how important he feels spring training is for him, and he hasn't really had a normal one since about 19. Just with him coming in healthy and being in more of a normal spring, how important is that for him just going into the season?
I think it's absolutely important for Ramon to go out and be able to, as you mentioned, have a regular spring, get a regular amount of at bats, and go out and perform. For Ramon, like you said, we tried to make his spring training as normal as possible last year because we were allowed to play him and give him that opportunity. But obviously, the disruption of last year for Ramon led to probably the ups and downs of a season, and there'd be nothing more than what we would want for Ramon to come out and get comfortable, get back into his routines, and go out and perform at a high level for us.
In your view, what do you think is what are the keys for him to have just a better overall year?
Yeah, I think getting back to the player that he was in terms of just offensively, utilizing the whole field, cutting down his strikeouts and putting the ball in play. He still has the ability to run, and be a productive offensive player in that manner.
Cox, are you using pitch clock during bullpens over there?
So we don't have clocks set up, but we are making them aware of the time frames. Fuji yesterday wanted to know, and we were keeping track of his times between pitches for him. And Vince, we talked about it the last 2 days with the pitching group. We've talked to them this morning again, so we're going to continue to remind them and continue to look for ways for them to get comfortable as quickly as possible, with the full understanding that it's going to take some time. So we have to also be patient on our end. Games are right around the corner on the 25th, and some of these guys, including myself, have never had to deal with the time frame of delivering a pitch without a penalty. So there's going to be an adjustment period for sure.
Is the message, look, this is the new dynamic. This is something we all have to deal with.
Yeah.
Let's try to get to it and get some comfort with it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Major League Baseball shared the data from the minor leagues, which when they took a survey, players adjusted within a week time frame with dealing with the pitch clock, about 50%. It took others a month, but there was a lesser percentage of players that it took that long for them to make that adjustment. So we're incorporating it into their bullpens. We're going to continue to stress it, and hopefully our adjustment period is shortened because of it. And but you're right. I mean, everyone in baseball has to deal with what lies ahead of us in these rule changes, and those that deal with it, make the adjustments, accept it, and move forward are going to be better for it.
Looking at Shea, it seems like he has the potential to be an everyday guy for you guys behind the plate. Early in camp, what are you kind of looking for out of him? What does he need to sort of focus on? What are the biggest things?
I think for Shea, it's first and foremost for every player, it's health, making sure they're taking care of their bodies. The off season, you can only do so much to train for spring training, and you get here and you put your spikes on, and it's a whole different type of soreness. So, for Shea, what we're looking for, nothing different than what we saw last year at the end of the year. Shea, came up, helped us, win some ball games. He was mentored by 2 veteran catchers, so he's got some tutelage from them. But he went through his ups and downs, as any major league player, young major league player does. So continued growth, really, and Shea displayed a lot of great qualities last year while he was here, and that's expected again.
You talked a little bit about, like you said, at the plate in particular, you felt like he was really starting to hit a stride those last couple of weeks. Is that something you feel like you can kind of carry over into the early part of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. At the major league level, when you get here, the league kind of fills you out, and they make adjustments, and they made adjustments to Shea. And it was great to see Shea. It may have taken a little bit for him to make the adjustments to cover what they were exploiting in him offensively, but he did that, and we saw that growth, and that's kind of what I mentioned before, is for Shea to continue that approach that he had at the end of the year offensively.
How do you guys plan to use Ramon this year?
Ramon's got every opportunity to play every day and go out and play right field. If need be, he can play center field. And obviously, he can play all 3 outfield positions. So, what we're looking for Ramon to go out and do is hopefully go out and be the player he was in 2019.
You mentioned also just some of the, plate discipline being an issue last season. From your perspective, what was it maybe that led to some of the strikeout numbers?
Obviously, inconsistency of at bats in terms of from injury perspective, as well as the suspension, being away from the game, coming back, and I think for Ramon feeling. I don't think he felt completely comfortable, and I think that impacted him and his success. And he tinkered a lot last year. He wasn't comfortable with, his swing, and I think anytime players waver in confidence, it's going to affect their ability to go out and perform.
Was that like in the cage, or could you tell that he was just working on stuff, tweaking stuff?
Well, I mean, not just in the cage. You could see him in his at bats. You could see adjustments being made from game to game, and sometimes that's good. But I think for Ramon, he was searching last year, and I think this offseason he's identified what he needs to do to be successful.
He that 20, I think it was 20 year, he came out and was stealing a lot of bases. Going to this year, maybe an emphasis more on the run game and throughout the league. Is that an area of his abilities that you think can maybe shine a little more?
Yeah, I think he can definitely utilize that part of his game to help us impact and win. As long as he's healthy and his legs feel good, Ramon can steal bases.
Is Pina fully
Full
coming
go.
back from the wrist thing.
Full go. Yeah. And for Pina, his desire to be here outside of playing in the WBC obviously states that he's a full go. He wants his opportunities to go back there, catch, and get at bats.
Will there be any sort of plans just for ramping him up in games that's different from what you would normally do if you
Nope.
were coming back?
Nope. Treat him just as normally as the rest of the catching crew.
Coach, with the WBC, does it, with guys like Geloff, Jordan Diaz, Adrian Martinez, do you want to see a little bit more of them in those early games than you would ordinarily before they leave?
Well, we'll try to get them maybe a few more at bats than probably normal, based on the fact that they're going to compete in a competition that's at a very high level. So we'll do our best to get them as many opportunities before they leave. They are here locally, I think. Both those is Team Israel here. They're in Florida. That's right. So Geloff will be gone a little bit earlier than Jordan, and then we'll get to compete against Jordan on the 8th against Colombia. So that'll be fun. All right. Thanks, guys. The kid's got some good stuff. Big kid. Obviously, we'll see how this thing shapes up for him.
How did Blackburn do?
Blackie looked good. Threw 20, took a break, threw 20 more. Said he felt good, so that's always an encouraging sign.
Sears said that one of the things that he did was just this offseason was go and trying to create some more break on the slider. Is that something that's visible to you?
I mean, in the pin today, he threw the slider. I'd say there's probably more tilt to it. You got to see how hitters react to it, though, to really see the difference. And in terms of his approach to it, I think it's great.
Mark, there's a lot of monotony when it comes to the drills and stuff. How important is it for you to make it fun, like you guys were out there today?
Yeah, we had a good day. Break it up a little bit. They've spent 2 days of doing fundamentals. Today was another day of fundamentals, but a little ragball competition, something that's been around spring training for a while. You mix it up, and you can see some excitement, some energy, and a little bit of competition. So, in that competition today, they had fun with it.
Are there other people? You mentioned that Sears is on maybe a little more he's a little further ahead than maybe like a Blackburn. Are there other pitchers here who are on that same Sears track where you're going to get a look at them early in games?
Well, the reason Sears is going to, I think, pitch in the first spring training game. So that's the reason him and Freddie are, a little bit further on, and not much further on. It's just the window, the way that it aligns. In terms of Blackburn, obviously from that standpoint, that's an injury issue related to his progression. So each guy's kind of got their own individual timelines based on their opportunity to pitch in games.
Do you already have the map who's going to pitch in the first, at least the spring opener?
I'd have to check with Emo, but I should have that for you later. Yeah.
Mark, you've been around the game a long time, and yesterday an ambassador of the sport passed in Tim McCarver. Any thoughts on what it's like to lose someone that's been so good to the game for so long?
Yeah, an icon, right? And deservingly so. It's sad to have someone not around anymore that was an impact to the baseball community, and obviously he'll be missed.